a lot of my timeliness and management came from working with, a group of people, having to do projects and stuff in the classroom. So, I mean, I love learning. My goal is to go back to school, maybe do something with like a master's or something. That would be my passion. I can't get enough learning. So I'm an educator in my industry as well. So I get to do that. And I just think that everybody should, if you have the opportunity to learn and try something new, that you should. It just is good for your mind.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is MILF Podcast, the show where we talk about motherhood, entrepreneurship, sexuality, and everything in between. I'm Jennifer Tracy, your host. So happy to be with you guys today. It's November. It's officially fall, even though we've had fires and insane heat here in California. Oh my gosh, you guys. I could take this opportunity to go on a rant about climate change and political things, but I really try not to talk about politics on the show because I'm not an expert. I certainly have my opinions, but it's very concerning just as a human and as a citizen of the world, but as a mother to think about like, gosh, what's going to happen when my kid's my age? And if he has children, it's, I don't know. It's very concerning. So we'll put a pin in that. Maybe I'll come back to it later. And knowing me, I'll probably get a guest to come talk about it, an expert guest. So happy November. I do love the fall season. I always tend to eat more food just because I don't know why it is. I think it's because just historically in my life, until I moved to California, which I've lived here for 20 years. I've lived here almost half my life. It's a warm season. It's a warm season. It's warm food season. So usually, in other parts of the world and the country, it's cooling down. And so we make stews, we make pastas, we make lasagna, I like to make a butternut squash soup. I make this amazing pulled pork in my slow cooker. I discovered slow cooking, I think right around the time that I got married, which is right around the time I started cooking. I was never a cook. I never learned to cook. It was not part of my childhood or, it wasn't part of my deal. So I started learning to cook and I started making things in my slow cooker and wow, that is just magical and so easy. And I really recommend it. I really, really recommend it. I wish my kid would eat any of it, but he won't. He's very, grilled cheese pizza, chicken nuggets, burgers, pasta. He'll grow out of it, I guess. But so for me, every fall, I kind of just have to know I'm going to gain about 10 pounds. Although this year I'm starting out a little heavier, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I did just order 2 new pair of sweatpants. I'm not joking. I'm also recently, October 26th was the 1-year anniversary of my friend taking her life. And boy, did people warn me, the 1-year anniversary is really hard. And it was and continues to be. That whole week leading up to it, I just found myself just reaching for bread and chocolate and bread and chocolate. And I just was like, girl, it is okay. You eat as much bread and chocolate as you need to because this is hard. And I knew I was emotionally eating, but I just said, it's okay. Just for today, you can do this. And then it tapered off a little bit. But yeah. Anyway, so I also heard once somebody say, or a couple different people say, oh, it's normal to gain some pounds in the winter months because historically, our ancestors had to gain fat to protect themselves from the elements. So I think part of me just latched onto that to be like, yeah, of course I'm going to gain some weight in the fall and winter, even though I live in California. Like, that's normal and healthy, people. And you know what it is? Like, it is. I mean, I'm making fun of it, but I'm also just like, luckily I'm at the place now with my body and my age and my recovery that I'm like, well, I'm just a little bit heavier. Oh, well, I mean, I used to just obsess about it in my 20s and, the thigh gap wasn't a thing back then, but I'm sure I would have obsessed on thigh gap, It's constant. And it's really now, I wish I could go to my 20-something-year-old self and say, honey, if you could put 50% or even 30% of the energy that you're putting into your body dysmorphia, into your art, and into service, like serving others, oh my God, you'd be so much happier. You'd have freedom. But we don't know that, or I didn't know that. Some people do. Some young people do, and they don't have that obsession. Self-obsession. Oh, it's such a prison. Anyway, super grateful not to be there. I love being able to not be self-obsessed enough to get stuff done that is meaningful to me. So speaking of which, I want to announce November's Give. And it's really interesting because this organization, you can't actually donate to it. You either become a member. Well, I'll just tell you what it is. So for November, I chose the Global Alliance for Maternal Mental Health. And when I discovered this organization, I was really intrigued because it is global. I found a bunch that were local to LA and I was like, well, that's cool. But my listeners are global. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful for all the countries that are listening and all the people and all the varying just experiences that you guys have and bring to me when I get to connect with you online. Obviously, if you've listened to the show, that I personally struggled with postpartum depression for a long time, went undiagnosed until he was 2. And I was literally pulling clumps of my hair out and cutting my arms with scissors. And I finally made a call and said, I need help. And my doctor was like, oh my God, of course, let's get you the help that you need. I can't believe we missed this. And it wasn't really her fault. I just thought I was defective and something was wrong with me. And so I was hiding it really because I was so afraid that, and I was alone with my baby because my husband at the time, my then husband, was out of the country. And I thought I'm the only caregiver. I mean, if something happens to me, like there's no one that can take care of my child. So I had to hide the fact that I was just suffering so much. And I just also thought, well, you get it together, girl, but that's the thing. When you have chemical imbalance, it's not something you can just switch in your mind. It's not like making a decision. So anyway, Global Alliance for Maternal Mental Health is what's really interesting about it is it's actually a coalition. So it's a bunch of international organizations have committed to improving the mental health and well-being of women and their children in pregnancy in the first postnatal year worldwide. And here is some statistics that's interesting. I'm just going to read from their website, which will be linked to my giving page on milfpodcast.com if you want to check them out, if you want to become a member. You actually it doesn't have to be a financial obligation to become a member. I have applied to become a member just through my work of spreading the word of this. So worldwide, this is on their website, worldwide maternal depression is the most common serious health complication of maternity. This and other mental health problems in pregnancy and postnatally result in huge human and economic costs for this generation and the next. Yet they are a neglected area of investment in services and research. Mental health problems in pregnancy and following childbirth are roughly twice as common in low-income countries as they are in high-income countries. If the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are to be achieved by 2030, maternal mental health must be prioritized. Just check it out. It's really interesting. There's a lot of resources on and real life stories on their website, which is globalalliancematernalmentalhealth.org. I know that's a mouthful. It's also linked through my website, milfpodcast.com. So you can just go check it out later. And I'll be posting about them also on my social, but it is something that we need to take care of our moms because, the moms are raising the moms of tomorrow and the dads of tomorrow and the people that are going to be running the world. And so if we aren't okay and can't give our kids stability, from our mental well-being, that's a scary thought too. That's as scary as the climate change thing, So anyway, this is very close to my heart, very important to me. And I think this organization is just phenomenal. And I love the work that they're doing and the resources that they give on the site as well. So check it out. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce today's guest. Today's guest is my new friend, Molly O'Brien. She is an entrepreneur. She is the owner of a Touch of Lash in Las Vegas. And so her company is a eyelash extension company. And they also have an academy there where they train people to do this. And her journey to entrepreneurship is really interesting. She was an athlete in college where she met her husband, who's also an athlete. Anyway, I'll let her tell you about it in the interview. But she's really just fascinating and full of moxie, which is something I so admire. And I really enjoyed getting to know her. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Molly O'Brien. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
We're giggling because we were just talking for about 3 minutes and it was not recording. I had not recorded it. So I learned that Molly is from Illinois.
Yes.
She's been in Vegas for 10 years, coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
And loving the warmth. And you went to Bradley University. That's where we're going to go. Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you study there?
I graduated from St. Mary's in California. So I did transfer.
Oh,
yep. So I finished out there and I have a kinesiology degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What sparked your interest in that?
I was a D1 college athlete. So I played softball and loved the idea of studying human movement. Thought that was kind of what my passion was going to be. Yeah. After college, I was a Division III college coach out in Boston. So Ooh. I thought that was going to be my path. I coached for a little bit. I did the stint at Boston and then I did University of Toronto as well. And then I didn't have a work permit when I lived in Toronto. So I had to volunteer only. So then the season was really, really short because I didn't know this at the time, but all the, I would say, more talented Canadian players come to the States to play because they get scholarships. Oh. So yeah, the season was really short. It was okay. It was fun, but I was kind of bored. And so I ended up taking a lash extension course when I lived there. And that's what I am currently doing. So I own a lash extension salon.
Wow, that's so, isn't it interesting how our life just takes us in these directions? You never know when or why or how. It's magic.
Yeah, I basically went to college to play softball, never used my degree.
I love it. I love it. Well, but you did, and you are, and you do. Yeah. And I'm sure it comes in handy in several different ways with your business.
It does. Yeah. It really does. As far as like, dealing with people, having timelines, time management, getting everything done. I mean, I learned all that in school and from having, other people relying on me and making sure that, the deadlines were met and nothing was pushed to the side. So a lot of my timeliness and management came from working with, a group of people, having to do projects and stuff in the classroom. So, I mean, I love learning. My goal is to go back to school, maybe do something with like a master's or something. That would be my passion. I can't get enough learning. So I'm an educator in my industry as well. So I get to do that. And I just think that everybody should, if you have the opportunity to learn and try something new, that you should. It just is good for your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And so get me from, where did you do the lash training? Was it in Toronto? Okay. Toronto. So get me from there to Vegas. What was the series of events that brought you to Vegas?
Yeah. So my husband trains here. So that's kind of what landed us here. And
when did you meet him? Someone's FaceTiming you. Don't worry. Oh my God, it happens. It's life. This is life. It happens.
Patrick and I met in college at Bradley. So,
so you've been together since your college sweetheart?
Yeah, freshman year.
No way.
So it's been a long time. Yeah.
How long have you been together?
Since 2005. So.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's too large. I can't count that high. No.
That's so great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And married for how long?
We've been married since 2011, so 7 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that's great.
I know.
So you guys were together. So did he follow you to Toronto, or how did that work?
I followed him. Patrick. Yeah, Patrick. He's a professional athlete, so it's kind of what led us to me finishing up my collegiate career in Moraga, California, the Bay Area. And then he went over to Boston and then up to Toronto. And then the off season, we always spent in Las Vegas. And so the year after we finished up in Toronto, we purchased a home here in Las Vegas. This was going to be like our home base, which was nice because we had to every season pack up all of our stuff and storage. And we didn't really have a place that we could call home. So this was our home, and it was great. And he ended up the next season going overseas, and I stayed here. And because I had taken that class in Toronto, I decided to build my business from there and open a salon, get my aesthetic license, and do all of that while he was over there following his passion. I kind of created a passion, fell in love with the industry, and just have been doing it ever since. Mm-hmm.
And 2 questions. What sport does he play?
He plays basketball.
Okay. And how was it during that time? I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell our listeners, my trees are being trimmed. That sounds like a sexual thing, but it's actually my trees outside my home are being trimmed. And so there's this buzzing. I don't know if we're going to be able to edit it out, but I didn't want to reschedule with Molly because she's so busy and awesome. And so we're going to power through this interview. But so how was it during the time when he was abroad and you were creating your business? How did you guys maintain a connection? That's hard.
Yeah, thank goodness for FaceTime.
Yeah.
Every place that he lived, it was between 12 and I think the longest was 18-hour time difference. So it was hard. It was a lot of time management, making sure that we made time for each other in the day. If he was waking up, he'd always call. It was easier for him to reach out to me because his schedule was so crazy, 2-a-days and everything. So in the mornings and after practice and then bedtime and things like that, we always made sure to talk. And then I would just schedule my clients and my day around that as well. But I see it as kind of a blessing and like a, maybe not so cool thing as well, because I got to travel. I got to go over whenever I wanted and see him. So it was really cool to see different cultures and different places of the world, places I would have probably never gone to had he not had a contract there. Right. And then the other thing too is, I was in a committed relationship, but I didn't really have to do a lot. You know what I mean? Like I could spend 14 hours at work and not feel guilty. So I really was able to focus a lot on my business and build it, kind of be the little workaholic that I am and not feel guilty about it, not have to worry about someone else because he was just on my phone and my phone can go everywhere with me. But yeah, it was hard. It was a lot of just making sure that we had communication and making time for each other and just making sure that, when I could get over, I was. And then, by the time we kind of spaced out some trips and holidays, he was back home again for 3 months. So we made it work. Mm-hmm.
And how long did he do that for? How many seasons did he do
retired this January.
So he's been doing that in Europe this whole time?
He didn't play much in Europe. He did. He played
abroad.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay,
that's okay. Yeah, he did that for the last few years since 2000. After we got married, 2011.
Wow, and then that's so fascinating because I had that experience with my husband. I'm divorced now, but he had to leave when our baby was born, and he was gone for a long time, and that. For us, that was the beginning of the undoing of our marriage because it was so hard. So you have, how many kids do you have?
I have 2 children.
You have 2 kids. How old are they?
I have a 4-year-old and I have a 1-year-old. And
so you don't have the ability to work 14 hours and just carry your phone with you now. Now you have.
No, they are not on my phone. they want to be on my phone playing. They need attention and love. So I've definitely had to pull back too. But you're right. Once the littles came along, the dynamic definitely changed. Layla's birth, my oldest, she was born during Chinese New Year, which was great because Patrick was playing in Taiwan. So he was able to come home, but it was for 7 days and then he rolled out again. It was very hard. So luckily through the years of him playing overseas, I had kind of set up my business in a way that I had strategies in place that if I was not actually physically at the location, it could still function. And things were being taken care of and people were in place that I trusted to handle the day-to-day business where, maybe I had to take a step back. So when Layla was born, that's exactly what happened. So I didn't have to set it all up all at once. It was already in place. So that made it a little bit easier. With Tessa being born, I think actually, Patrick kind of started to feel a little bit like he was missing out on some things. And, he kept saying like, I feel guilty leaving you. Are you sure that you're okay? Like, do you want me to stay? Like, I don't have to take this contract. Like, I don't want it to, be too much. And he got tired of just chasing the jobs and leaving the family behind. And so this season he was just like, I'm not into it. So he retired. He's happy about it. He's trying to do some coaching and training and get into the world of basketball just in a different capacity where he can be, a little bit more home-based or at least in the country. That'd be cool.
Yeah. No kidding. And so how has that dynamic shifted since now he's home all the time? Was that a little bit of an adjustment for you guys?
every season. It was like,
like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Yeah, the first 3 weeks, I'm like, why are your pants on the floor? Like, my house is so clean when you're not home. And he's like, why do I have to tell you like what time I'm done with practice and when dinner is? Like, it's a lot. It was usually 3 weeks, and then we were back on track, and it was like 3 weeks.
Well, then you're adding in these other two human beings and their schedules and what they, and you've got your vibe with them. And it's like, no, that's not how we do it here. Or like that kind of thing. Right.
That was hard. Yeah. Especially with Layla, because obviously he played the most during her younger years and Tess only, once. But with Layla, he'd come home and he'd want to do things a certain way and go somewhere. And I'm like, no, we have a schedule. This is how we do it. This is how we function. We thrive on a schedule. The kids thrive on a schedule. We get things done on a schedule. So that took a little bit. And it was hard for him too, because I wasn't used to being so bossy. And then, the mom and me came out and he's like, oh, you're bossy. Yeah. So I had to kind of tone it down and learn how to like talk to him as an adult, not as a kid. But yet still stay on schedule. And it's changed. He's an awesome dad. Like he gave up his dream of being a professional athlete, which so few people get to do, to stay at home and, make sure that our family dynamic was, on point and thriving and not suffering from his career choices. Not a lot of people get that. So I feel very grateful. I give him a lot of grace in this learning period with Tessa. I mean, he's learning the things that he missed out on with Layla. Like, right now Tessa's, she's almost 2. So she's about 19 months and it's very hard to understand her. She's trying to talk, but she can't really get it out. And so he's learning, to have patience and work through that with her. But it's been fun to watch him with the kids. I mean, it's definitely like a new love and appreciation that I have for that man.
Oh, that's so sweet. You're kind of getting to fall in love with him all over again.
Yeah, in a different way.
That's so awesome. So how is it running? Tell me a little bit about your business. What is your business like in Vegas? And do you have multiple, tell me all about it. I'm so curious.
Yeah. So I love what I do. It's so awesome. It started off as me being able to have control over our being able to contribute to our finances. That's what it started out was. I didn't like the volunteer thing that was going on in Toronto. So the thing that really pulled me towards lash extensions was the idea that I could do it wherever we lived and I would be able to make an income. And so that was kind of like the under part of my business, why I was doing it. And when I opened the salon, it was just me. And I quickly realized that in Nevada, you have to have an aesthetic or cosmetology license to do lash extensions on the public. So I didn't have that. I had to go to school. So I quickly had to find someone that did, train them, teach them, build a business around them, and then get my license. So, while I was in class on my breaks, I was, answering phone calls and booking clients like in school.
Wow.
It was crazy. But
how long did it take you to get through cosmetology school? That's not a small thing.
No, I ended up going the quicker route, which was aesthetics. So I have an aesthetic degree and it was 900 hours. So it took me about 7 or 8 months.
Lot. Yeah.
So it was a lot of juggling, but we did it. And from there, I really found that, from training my first employee, I really liked teaching people. And at the time in 2010, we were one of 3 companies in Las Vegas doing lashes. So it was very new. Not a lot of people knew what it was. People were always asking me tell me more about this. How'd you get into this? Could you teach me or show me how to do this? And for me, I liked being able to show them how to do it, how to train them, because I knew that it would give them a way to financially contribute to their household and to feel good about themselves, while at the same time giving women confidence and creating these beautiful looks on, their clients that they wake up instantly and feel so much more confidence. So that was really important to me. And in 2013, I started putting together my training academy. That also went hand in hand with my salon. So started training people, putting together actual curriculum and making sure that we are compliant with the state board in Nevada. Through the training program, obviously, we had to provide them with products. So that's naturally how we came out with our ATOL product line, and just kind of grew it from there, to be honest. I did have another location at one point. Unfortunately, due to some personal circumstances with my daughter's health, I couldn't keep up with it. I had to end up closing it. I just kind of get back there every month to run it. And my family, they were wonderful. They were like, I'll step up, I'll take care of it. But it was suffering. And it took me a lot to close it. A lot of conversations with Patrick.
Yeah.
I tell my clients and my people back there, because it was in my hometown in Illinois. So I tell them, you know what, one day we might be back. Like, they were very understanding about it. They know, how much obviously my daughter means to me. So they, if we had to close, it couldn't have been for a better reason than that. And Layla's doing wonderful. So who knows what the future will bring. Maybe we'll reopen it one day. Yeah. But as of right now, we're very happy. I have 6 employees here in Las Vegas. We're in our biggest space. I have an on-site training facility here. We're launching new products with our extension product line. We just released a new adhesive that is a game changer for the lash industry. It used to be a contraindication to use oil products for extensions because it would break down the glue. And we ended up finding a manufacturer that could formulate a adhesive that is okay to use with oil. So for our oily clients, for our clients that love their facial products and want to keep the oil products on their regimen, we now have something for them, and it's been a game changer. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. I really I'm just feeling how passionate you are about this. It's really like shining through, and just how you talk about it, and what the thing that keeps popping out for me is how important it is that your clients and your employees feel confident.
Yes.
And I think for women, that's something that we need way more of all over the place, is like other women, other employees, other places encouraging us to have confidence and feel confident.
I agree. When I'm asked about my business, I find that I talk about Patrick a lot and like my life in that world. And for me, that's what it was. Like, I had to be ready. Like, he would come home and be like, oh, babe, I forgot we got like a charity event, or, oh, we have this gala that we have to go to. And, I just got done with practice and I'm a hot mess, or, I had no idea that it was happening and I had nothing to wear. So the fact that, I could get ready in an instant and I have to worry about one thing was just a game changer. And now that I'm a mom, those extra minutes in the morning, like, I don't have my lashes on right now, but I'm getting them back on tomorrow. So I'm so excited, because this morning I was like, gosh, this mascara isn't doing it. Like, I hate mascara. It's horrible. So get lashes. It definitely comes through. And just like, being able to give the women time back in the mornings to either spend with their littles, or, sleep in and get those extra minutes that we so need as moms, or the confidence to walk into a room and just have a little bit of, a little bit more swag, because your lashes done. Exactly. So that's what I get the most out of. That's why I do it. And, for me, it's, if I can teach my employees how to do the service in a way that's going to keep the natural lashes healthy and safe, and also give women that confidence. I mean, I think we've done it. I mean, as you can see with the industry, 2010, like I said, we were one of 3 companies. Now there's a company everywhere. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool to be like a pioneer in it and see the industry grow and be an educator in the industry, to make sure that not only are people falling in love with the industry, but we're continuing to use those products that are safe for the natural lashes, and continuing to get away from products that maybe we shouldn't be using because they're causing too many side effects and things like that. So I really get a lot out of it. And I'm kind of that person that if I'm not feeling it, I don't do it. So
I
know
totally
what you mean. I do.
Yeah. It shows. It really shows. And we haven't said it on the show yet, but what's the name of your company?
Oh, duh. It's called Touch of Lash.
I love that.
Yeah.
And your product line is also called A Touch of Lash?
It is. It's all under the A Touch of Lash brand. So the Academy, the product line, it's all ATOL based. And then we just say Academy or product line. So it kind of keeps that same branding, same colors, everything. You can find everything on the website. So it's very easy to purchase, buy a class or anything like that. So everything is all under one brand.
Do you think I don't know, maybe you currently do, but do you think you'll teach any online courses, or is it all in person?
That is huge. Online is huge. So as much as I talk about confidence and everything, I am not very good on a camera.
Oh, disagree right now. I'm experiencing you on a camera and it's so good.
Thank you.
I would pay good money to take a class from you right now.
Thank you. I want to get into it. I've been forcing myself to get behind the camera and show people who I am. I know that's huge in the social media world right now too. So the classes that I've been taking, I've been learning a lot about that. They want to see the face that goes along with the brand. We've been here for 10 years. And I mean, I ran into people that were like, I didn't know you're the owner. I was like, oh, I am. So, but I'm glad that you love my staff so much. You think that they run the place. I
Yeah.
do well.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I do want to offer some online classes. I know that just, people are going to gravitate towards that. It's the ease of learning when you're on your own couch in your sweats, and it's so much better. I believe that with my online courses, I'm going to take it just a little step further. I think for anything introductory, I do want to get them in the salon, just, for a little hands-on. So maybe we offer a mentorship where they can come in as a part of the package that they purchase, something like that. So there's just some hand techniques that, you can really see a lot more when it's in person. So if they're struggling, we'll probably offer it as an option. But yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are your products available? Can we order them online?
You can. Yes, we have the full product line. So anybody looking to get into the lash extension world, first and foremost, I do want to tell you have to check with your state board to find the regulations. There are only 7 states in the country that do not require an aesthetic or cosmetology license. So every other place does require it. So purchasing the product, it really wouldn't be beneficial because you couldn't use it to make money. But if you are licensed, please use it. They are high-end salon products. So it's exactly what we use on our clients here. You're going to find that the the extensions are very, they fan very easily. They're very soft, lightweight. That's one of the compliments that we've gotten over the years that's been consistent is they really like the material of the extensions, and they really like the adhesive, how it works over multiple different climate regions, which is so important in the industry.
Oh, interesting. So if you're in humid or versus desert, it affects the lash. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
It does.
It's like hair, your hair on your head.
So the main ingredient in the adhesive is actually an acrylic-based product or ingredient. So if you've ever gotten acrylic nails and you've probably been exposed to the main ingredient already. But it's very, not a lot of people know a lot about it. Right? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you dive deeper into the science, you start to understand that it's moisture seeking. So it thrives in humidity. So for me, having the location in Illinois and having the location here in Nevada, I didn't necessarily want to bring on a separate adhesive. I wanted something that would work over a large range of climates. So a big range of temperature and humidity. I found it. I love it. And the one thing that I will notice, though, even though we are using the same product, is because we live in the desert and we don't have that extra humidity, the clients don't have as long as of a retention. So typically 2 to 3 weeks for refills here in Nevada is very standard because of the humidity or the lack thereof. Whereas in Illinois, same product, same technique, same artist, you could go about 4 or 5 weeks. So the humidity plays a huge role. And as the lash industry grows, it becomes a little bit more science-based. Before we were just slapping lashes on and you're beautiful, go be confident. But now there's a lot more behind the scenes. So going on, why are allergies happening? Why is the adhesive ranging so much from climate to climate? Why does it work in one area and not in the other? Things like that. So it's really cool time to be in the industry. I think that's also why I'm so passionate, is because it's ever changing and we're continuing to get more information on things like, the adhesive. Personally, I'm hoping one day to have a cyoacrylate, which is that main ingredient. I'm hoping to have a cyoacrylate free adhesive, which will allow more people to get extensions and have fewer reactions. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I've never gotten lashes. I have many, many friends who swear by them. And here in LA, as you can imagine, there's a lash place on every corner.
Everywhere.
But what is the price range of getting lashes?
Very, very much ranges. So in LA, you're going to have a lot higher prices. And it's based obviously on your region. But in Nevada, it typically ranges anywhere from about $120 to $300 for full sets. And you only have to get the full set once, because after that, you're going to come back for maintenance refills. And that happens, like I said, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your region. And those will range between $50 and $100. This is all based off of what set you're getting, what
I
type of
see.
extensions you're wearing, who's doing your lashes, so how experienced they are, and kind of the amount of a fill that you need. So if you were naughty and didn't take care of them, you're going to need a bigger fill. It's going to cost you a little bit more. Whereas if you did a really good aftercare and you just have a slower shedding cycle, naturally, you're not going to have as much of as high of a cost.
So now we talked about the adhesive materials. What are the lashes actually made of?
Oh, wow. You hit like a huge, there's so much controversy in this industry over
Really? Ooh, okay.
There's a lot of confusion because overseas, that's where we get the product still, Korea, Japan. Those are big manufacturing hubs for the extension industry. And obviously there's a language barrier. So they needed to figure out a way to describe the extensions to us in a different language.
Yeah.
So they started calling things like mink and silk. And it's false. The extensions themselves are not actually made out of that material. That descriptor word, mink and silk, are actually the taper of the extensions, where it gets dark and where it thins out. So it was used to describe kind of how dense it was towards the tip, the shine, things like that. They're all made out of the same material. It's all a very high-end, soft PBT material, which is a plastic. So they're all really synthetic. Now you will find on the market fox lashes, and you will find authentic Siberian mink fur extensions.
Those are like $1,000, right?
Yeah, they have their time and place. A lot of people are using them for like marketing campaigns and things like that. Editorial shots. They're not really realistic for anybody that wants a dense, dark lash line because they're not going to be able to achieve that because they're actually a natural hair. So they're very thin, and you're not going to get the wow factor that you could from using like a PBT material. So that's usually what we go towards. But yeah, there's people out there marketing them as like authentic mink, but they're really just the PBT. They're just describing the taper, but they're confused because the manufacturer told them that. So we're working on, kind of smoothing out all those kinks and educating all these new artists out there, and just making sure that everybody's using the same verbiage, describing things the same way. And going back to price, I mean, a lot of undercutting. There's a lot of people that are out there doing it for very cheap, and it's a skilled labor that you're doing. You spend a lot of time working on it. You spend a lot of time doing it. You deserve to make a nice dollar for it. Yeah. And, but because it's so saturated, people are trying to figure out a way. So sorry. People are trying to figure out a way.
You're a popular lady. I get it.
I told no one to call me. I don't know what's going on.
They never stop. I get it. I have the same thing.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. Yeah. Well, and I mean, some of my friends, like, I've noticed different women that my friends that have lashes, like some of them look like one of my friends, Tanya, I'll just say who it is. She's on the show early on, and she's such a wackadoo. She would do this live on video right now. She came back from one place and her lashes were like, one was going this way, one was going that way. Like she's like, I look like a circus clown. Like, I don't know what it is. She's like, and it was not cheap. And it was a place in LA. Yeah. And so she doesn't go to that place. But it's, you really, I think in LA, what I'm finding is if you don't know your lash person really well, you have to go to something that's really high end and costs a lot to make sure you're going to have a good lash experience.
Yeah. I've definitely heard that about the LA market. Very hit or miss. I get a lot of offers to come and teach at different places. People that have moved over there, they're like, "We'll hook you up with our salon. Like, please come out. Like, we need help. It needs to be more uniform." The training is not there for some reason. There's a lot of good companies in the area, so I haven't been able to pinpoint the why this is happening out there. Yeah. But we can pass on some information if you need.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Okay.
We know the places, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of good lash artists out there. It's just, you're exactly right. If it's not somebody that or off of a referral, it's definitely hit or miss. And a lot of that too, I will say, is because of miscommunication in the consultation. These artists maybe are not as skilled on consultations, and so they're not asking the right questions, or their client is not someone that really is able to explain correctly what they want, and the artist gives up on the consultation and just wings it, and that's sometimes a problem as well. So when we teach, we actually have a section just dedicated to the consultation because over the past 10 years, I've learned, no two people say the same thing the same way. And just because you said it one way doesn't mean I heard it that way. So I really want to give my students that information on how to kind of get to the trigger words and the keywords that they need to figure out what the client's trying to describe to them to have a more successful result at the end of the appointment.
That's awesome. And so what do you do for fun, girl? Like, what do you do on your
work?
Yeah, I knew that was going to be the answer, but, and you have 2 small children. So
Yes.
sleep is probably your number one.
It's very high on the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Do you have time for yourself at all?
I really haven't, but Patrick has been on me about this. He really has been making me carve out time that we go and do something. We just did a wine and paint thing that was, probably not up our alley, but, it was fun just to get out of the house and hang out together. On Monday nights, we do play softball. So we play softball. So he plays on the team with us, and it's our neighbors, and my sister plays. So it's so much fun. It's like our time. Our babysitter stays a little bit later on those days and helps us out with the kids. And that's really, really it. Otherwise, I know this sounds cheesy and corny, but like we're at a place in our personal life with our children and the ages that they're at. We just like being at home. Like my sister is like, you never leave the house. Like you never do anything. I love coming home and seeing like how much they grew while I was gone and like all the silly things that they did and playing dress up. And, they're so spoiled. They have such wonderful grandparents. And I mean, the toys are just insane at home. So we have so much to do.
Yeah.
It never really feels like we're not busy. But I mean, other things, Vegas is a great town. Like if we're ever bored, it's our fault. Like we take the kids everywhere. We take them to the park. We take them to the strip. We take them to restaurants. We take them horseback riding, to the orchards and the pumpkin patches. Like we're coming up on a very fun season. So it's something that I just enjoy. I know it's corny. I spend time with my family.
No. I mean, I get it. And also when they're little, you're really married, like you said earlier, to the schedule and the sleep and the feeding and bringing kids to a restaurant. It's just a nightmare.
Say no more.
It's just like, why?
Why did we do that?
Oh, and then more than half the time, I would end up bringing him home and cooking him another meal because he didn't even eat any of the food I just paid for.
That was Taco Tuesday last night. Yeah. Tessa ate nothing. She ate French fries and a sopapilla. That was it. I was like, okay, that was a horrible dinner for you.
And then got home and she was hungry, right?
Oh yeah. Snack.
Yeah.
Snack.
Oh yeah.
She's got a few words. Otherwise we're just like, oh, I don't know what you're saying. Sign it.
That's so cute. That's so sweet. So we have come to the time, my dear. What do you think about, Molly, when you hear the word love?
My family.
Yeah.
I have so much love in my life. Even before my new immediate family, like I grew up with a huge family. We grew up next door to my grandparents, a mile down from my paternal grandparents. My uncle lived, 2 blocks from me. My other uncles lived maybe 2 miles, 3 miles. And then the rest of my family was all in the neighboring city. So I grew up very loved. I grew up understanding the meaning behind family, the good and the bad, because it's not always good.
Yeah.
But I definitely think of my family. And now that I'm growing my own family with my husband and my littles, everything I try to do is with love. For my clients, I try to give them a service and make sure that they feel loved and appreciated, try to remember their names, important dates, things that are going on in their life, just to make them know that, we do appreciate them coming in here. We want to treat them as family with love. So, to me, it's important. I feel like if you do things with love, you get love back. And it's very important to me that people, especially in today's world, there's so much that you hear about. And, I feel like if there's maybe more love given or more love shown and a little less ego, some of these things wouldn't be a problem. So for me, teaching my girls to give love and respect is huge.
Yes. Amen. Amen to that. If you could live anywhere in the world other than where you're living now, where would you live?
I would go back home.
Oh,
I miss my family. I've been away from them for 10 years. My sister has a 4-year-old niece that's 4 months younger than my daughter. And she has a 20-day-old son. So I'm missing them. My grandparents, I grew up next door to them. I miss them every day. I miss my mom, my dad. I miss everyone. So for me, I would move a little bit closer to home.
Yeah.
I think we'd always had the business in the house here just to get away again.
Yeah.
But I would move back. I would move back home.
Yeah. How do you define serenity?
Ooh, that's a hard one for me because I don't think I have much of it. The chaos
Not with two small children. Yeah.
No, serenity to me is, I think just checking things off my list and getting things done and making sure that my kids had quality time that day. That really brings me serenity and peace. When I go to bed at night, knowing that, I gave them attention. I didn't have my phone. I wasn't busy. We really played and they got a lot out of it. They went to bed relatively happy because we're still at the age where bedtime's still kind of a nightmare, but a little bit less of a nightmare. I find that I have some serenity and then, just checking off those things for work. I'm very driven. I always have a never ending Post-it note on my desk. So I do find a little peace when I'm able to cross some things off and make sure that the family is taken care of.
Okay, lightning round of questions.
Okay.
Fireside or oceanside?
Fireside.
Favorite junk food?
Oh, cookies.
Oh, what kind?
Sugar.
Do you like theme parks?
I do.
What's your favorite one?
I really like the Adventureland, and I think it's because we went there when we were growing up. So I've just always gravitated that. Now that we're so close to Disney, we didn't get to go last year because of Lee's health, but we are definitely going to get back on track with taking the kids there. My husband loves it. I love it. We love seeing the kids happy about it. I think we might get a little bit more out of it than they do, but yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay. Daytime sex or nighttime sex?
Nighttime for sure.
Shower or bathtub?
Shower.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at making lasagna?
0. I don't cook. Patrick cooks, so I don't cook. Yes, we don't eat unless that man makes us dinner. He slays it in the kitchen, so I've never had to make a lasagna.
That's so great.
My mother.
Oh, please. Well, you're running a whole business. You're doing all this other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can't do it all.
No.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, it's having to repeat myself, but I've had to learn to get over this one with my kids. So I would say definitely having to repeat myself is my biggest one.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate to that. Superpower choice: invisibility, ability to fly, or super strength.
What was the first one?
Invisibility, ability to fly, or super strength.
Super strength. Yeah, because those kids, they want me to carry them at the same time, and I can't. My little one is like a tank, so I can't get her up with Layla.
And they just get heavier and heavier.
They do. Yep.
Would you rather have a cat tail or cat ears?
Ears.
What was the name of your first pet?
Brutus.
Brutus?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of animal was Brutus?
It was a golden retriever dog.
Oh my God, that's such a great name.
So sweet.
What was the name of your mom picked it out. I love that name. Brutus. What was the name of the street you grew up on?
East High Street.
So your porn name, were you to have one, is Brutus High.
Oh, nice.
I had to think. I was like, I don't think you did the east of the street.
Right.
So your porn name is Brutus
I feel like
High.
I could drive some hits to the site. It's a good
100%. 100%.
Name.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Molly, you're such a treasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
This was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Molly. Join me next week as I welcome actress Jenna Elfman to the podcast. Can't wait. Talk to you guys then. Bye.